Hello again, friends. Welcome back again to Ozarks Traditional. I'm Tandy. You'll see the rest of the gang running around a little bit. We got Gracie and Coco and Lola out here with me today. I've got another quite windy day today, but I've been promising you guys a review of this Big Jim Bow Company Black Hunter Elite Longbow. It's a 55-pound longbow, and I've been shooting it for a few days now. I would like to have a little better conditions to demonstrate it for you, but we're supposed to have rain all the rest of the week, and I'm only contending with wind today, so we'll make do with it. I've been shooting it for a little while now. It's taken me a little while to get this review going, because when I first received it, I put a little guesswork into it, and I thought with the 55-pound bow, I was probably going to need a 400 spine arrow. So I ordered up a half dozen of Big Jim Bow Company's dark timber carbon arrows in 400 spine when I ordered the bow. Well, as everything came in, I started shooting it. I was tuning it up, and by the time I got the tune worked out on this bow, I had to greatly shorten the length, or shorten it more so than I wanted to. Because it was running weak spined in this bow, and I also had to reduce the point weight much further than what I wanted to. It's going to be one of the arrows that I shoot today, but I had to cut it from throat of nock to carbon at 28.5 inches. I've got a 28-inch draw. I really didn't want to go that short with it, but I had gone in 29 inches. It just wasn't working, and even by the time I got to this length, I had gone down to a 100 grain point and a 100 grain insert, and it was still flying just a little bit weak. So I got back on, and I ordered up a half dozen of the 340 spine dark timbers. With those, I ordered 50 grain inserts. So when I received those, I took the 50 grain insert and put into these 28.5 inch cut dark timber 400 spines, and added a 125 grain point to it. So I reduced my point weight by another 25 grains, and that was the ticket. They were flying great bare shaft at that, but it ended up being a lighter arrow than what I really wanted. Now, if I were a 3D shooter and going to other competitions, it would be exactly what I wanted, because these come out at approximately 8.5 grains per pound through this bow. So they fly quick. We'll do a chronograph here in just a minute, and we'll see what's going on with that. But the 340 spine arrows, I was able to stay with my 150 grain point, the 100 grain insert, so that gave me 250 grains up front, and I've got from throat of the nock to carbon 30 inches. Now, the inserts that come with these arrows are protruded beyond the tip of the arrow just slightly, so overall length of this, excluding points, is 30.5 inches, and overall length of this arrow with a 50 grain insert is 28.75 inches. So that's where we're at on the arrows, and so far these dark timber arrows are flying exceptionally well through this bow. There's only one flaw that I have found to them, and I'll go over that in just a minute when we cover the arrows a little more in depth. First, I want to give you a good look at this longbow. It really is pretty. Instead of just the diamond wood riser that you see on most of the black hunters, these are laminate woods that have come through. This one has the diamond wood, and I'm not sure, probably walnut or maple. I don't know what the honey they call this one on the website. They have 3 different risers available in the Elite Longbow: a red and black, a gray and black, and then they call this one the black and honey. And I coupled these with one of Big Jim Bow Company's custom quivers. The quivers have fantastically nice thick rubber that goes onto the limb. It holds very solid, no movement whatsoever. They've got a variety of colors that go with it. I chose the black to go with my color scheme. So I'm impressed with the quiver also. Now this bow came with a Dacron string, endless loop Dacron string, and I knew I was not going to be using that string, so I immediately produced a string. I built a B55 Flemish Twist. I built it myself, and you know, it's not a fast flight, it's not D97, it's still you know, a B55 string, but it's what I use on my bows. I like the feel of it. Yes, there's more stretch with them, but it's I'm used to it. I'm used to the feel from shooting my recurve with that, so I really like the string. It came with a hair rest. Now, if you are to pick up one of these, keep in mind that you always want to put the rest in that the arrow follows the hair, that the flow of the hair is going towards your target. So keep that in mind when you when you install the hair rest. The bow has a nice mass feel to it. It's got a little weight into the riser. I love the feel of it. And I know that you've seen a lot of different black hunter reviews. The shape and style of the riser is not changed. It's just the makeup of the woods in the riser and the appearance of it. It's got this little hand swell here. A lot of people don't like this hand swell. Personally, I do. When I put my hand into it, the thumb and forefinger go very well on it. And this little palm swell here actually puts my hand in a very good position so that I'm pulling back into my pivot point on my thumb and forefinger. I love the feel of it. I really do. And again, it's got good weight to it. It just allows a good pointability, if you will, into the bow. So I'm quite pleased with it. Other than that, this is that's how she looks. So again, I told you overall weight with the quiver. I haven't weighed it with the arrows in the quiver, but I'll give you weights on that because that's going to be different with every set that you put in. But with quiver and as it stands right here, it's 2.7 pounds total weight. 2.7 pounds. I checked the draw weight of it at 28 inches. This 55-pound bow came in at 56 pounds. So it's at 28 inches. So it's right on the advertised ratings of the bows. Now, I believe that they are glass with bamboo core is what the limbs are. I can see the little porous holes that go in there, which is indicative of bamboo. So I believe that I mean, they could be maple, but I'm pretty sure that they're glass with bamboo core. Great feel. I'm very pleased with it so far. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to shoot a series of 5 arrows each with the 8.5 grain per pound arrow, and I will give you weights on those in just a moment. I had to make myself some notes because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember. And then my hunting weight arrow is 10.5 grains per pound. Let me check on those weights real quick. So the 8.5 grains per pound, 8.4, is 467 grain total weight. That's with a 50 grain insert, a 125 grain field point, a 6-inch wrap, 3 4-inch feathers, and the knock. And then my 10.4 grain per pound is 583 grains total weight. It's a 30-inch throat of knock to carbon, 100 grain insert, 150 grain field point, 6-inch wrap, 3 4-inch feathers, and a knock. So we'll take these. I think it's written on the arrow itself. The 340 spine is 10.8 grains per inch, and the 400 spine is 9. Once again, the wind is terrible. I'm going to edit that part out, but know once again that wind is terrible, and it just it just blew my camera equipment over again. So before it gets any worse, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll run these through the chronograph. We will begin with the lighter weight arrow at the 8.5 grains per pound. $173. Guys, I'm going to speed this part up in the video, and we'll review all the speeds after we shoot both of them. Okay, that is it for the 8 grains per pound. Let's get a string change. Now we'll do the 10.5 grains per pound. Okay, that's 5 shots with each arrow. Even at this distance, I can see how the wind is catching my fletchings. Let me see if I can zoom in on the chronograph. And we will all right. We can check everything now. So for the 8.5 grains per pound, we've got a 174 for the 5th shot, 175 for the 4th, 174 for the 3rd, 175 for the 2nd, 173 for the 1st shot. That's a high of 175, a low of 173, with an average 174. So the 8.5 grains per pound is shooting 174 feet per second. So now then, for the 10.5 grains, shot number 5 was 162. Shot 4, 160. Shot 3, 162. Shot 2, 160. Shot 1, 162. That is a high of 162, a low of 160, and our average is 161. So for the 10.5 grain per pound hunting arrow, it 161 feet per second, and for the 8.5 grains per pound flatter shooting 3D setup was 175 feet per second. So definite change between the two. Let me take a look at my notes, see what else I wanted to add to tell you about this bow. I think that's about all we wanted to cover. Oh, the one thing I wanted to say is the string that came with it was, as I mentioned before, it's an endless loop Dacron string, and it was quite a bit short when I put it on the bow, and it came to a brace height. It took the brace height out to 9 inches. Now I don't expect that to stay there. There was no twist in that string, and I expect with that Dacron, if I just left it strung on the bow overnight or shot it some, that would probably stretch out. I don't know if it would stretch far enough out to bring you to the 8-inch brace height. From what I've understood about these bows, they seem to like a 7.5 to 8-inch brace height. That's kind of what I found on this bow. When I built this Flemish Twist B55, I've got it set at 7 5/8 inch brace height, and it tuned out for me shooting split finger in my style of shooting with a knock height 9/16 inch above the shelf. So that's all the particulars I have about the bow. For my style of shooting, I really like the shootability of this bow and the pointability. I'm going to get reset up and going to try to take a shot in at out at 25 yards. And we'll go into the vital zone target that I have set up over here from 25 yards. Let me set up behind so you can hopefully see the flight of the arrow going down the line. All right, let's see what we can do with that. Up here at 25 yards, I'm gonna be shooting at the vital zone target down the hay bale. We'll see what the wind's going to allow me to do. See if I can put some in there. With this lighter grains per pound arrow, I actually have to use a visualization of shooting more at 20 yards. And it's a little hard for me to do because my mind, when I see how the distance I am, it wants to aim in a certain spot. So let's see if I can trick myself just a little bit. Still just a touch high, but not too bad for not being used to that speed. And now we'll use the heavier hunting arrow. There we go. 2 shots in, 2 shots in, and we will call it after that. Retrieve these arrows, and I only have one thing left to say. Well, I'm obviously going to have to do a little editing on this because the wind keeps blowing my equipment over, so I'm going to finish up with this last thing. The dark timber arrows, they fly good. I'm happy with them. The only negative that I can offer, shooting in these hay bales are horribly abrasive. So the finish on these arrows, this is how the dark timber looks. I'm certainly going to have some editing to do because the wind keeps taking my video equipment down. But this is how the dark timber arrow looks when initially fletched up. Nice looking, got a beautiful wood grain finish that's on it. But shooting into these hay bales have a really bad abrasive quality to it. So that's what's happening to the arrow's finish as it goes into these hay bales. I doubt that anybody else would have any issue with it whatsoever, because it is definitely the abrasiveness of the hay bales that is causing that finish wear on the tips of my arrows. No big deal to me. It doesn't bother me as long as my arrows are flying well, and they are. Even on a day like this where my camera equipment is flying as much as the arrows are. But I just wanted you to be aware of that. I am going to post links in the description of these arrows, the quiver, the bow, everything with Big Jim's Bow Company, so you'll be able to find that there. At this point, I want you to remember, please subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to post a link that takes you back to the giveaway that I'm having that is still going until Easter Sunday, April 20th of 2025 of this year. So within that giveaway, if you haven't been there yet, you have to be a subscriber to win and post in the comments Elite Longbow. You will win a bow just like this, except it will have the black and gray riser, and it will be a 50-pound limb hunting bow. But different limb weights are available. You order the riser and the limbs separately. If you wanted lighter limbs or up to 60 pound, I think they go from 25 pounds to 60 pounds in 5-pound increments. So you could order recurve limbs to fit the same riser in different weights, or you can order the longbow limbs in different weights. So the one that I have for the giveaway is 50-pound limbs on a black and gray riser. So please follow the link to go over there and enter that contest. I appreciate you coming by. Thank you very much again. Remember, keep God in your heart and love your fellow man when you can. Help everybody out. We'll see you next time. Y'all come back.